Yo, here we go. And Ski's opinion. We are back. It's your gracious and humble host, Ski. I ask you guys to like, follow, subscribe to the channel. Run up those likes, run up those likes, run up those likes. So, we got another show of Ski's opinion. So, we're going to go over a few topics. It's been a lot going on, so I have to pick through a few things that I wanted to speak on. So, first things first, I think I'm going to start with the government shutdown. The government shutdown, you guys, is still going on. We are on day 29, I think, today, which I heard somewhere that the longest government shutdown was 35 days, and I think that was 2018, 2019, something like that, when Trump was in office again, the last time. So this is the longest, but it started to become very serious, I would say, as far as the detriment of our people, right? Let's say our people, I'm talking about the American people. I'm talking about the essential workers, federal workers, UPS workers, mail carriers, all federal workers, government workers who FAA, airport workers, everybody, federal workers that's actually, they said, is getting their first full no paycheck, But I want to give some gratitude and salute to the essential workers, to the federal workers for still showing up, the ones who are still there. A lot of them have been furloughed and sent home. Anyway, but the ones who are there who are not even getting paid, but they're coming in and going to work, the Army, a lot, has been going on. Like I said, it's been pretty sickening, I would say, right? SNAP benefits is coming to an end coming up this Saturday, So people are gonna lose, the food assistance benefit. That's gonna start for the first time ever, right? And they're allowing this to happen. They don't care that 40 million people are gonna be without food, I would say, right? It's very unsettling, if you ask me, how our government don't really care enough to even make whatever deals needed to be made, right, to help the people. Why the people got to get punished for, they back and forth. So the government shutdown, I don't have much to go off of because I don't really understand everything fully. Like I said, with that, it never really seems to make sense to me what they're doing, because it never seems like it actually trickled down to whatever plan or budget that they come up with. It never seems like it actually get used the way it should, and things go to where they're supposed to go to as far as how we run this government, right, or this country. So, I mean, to you say, get it together, America. Get it together, Get this government back rolling, get these people paid, get your people taken care of, We could do better than what we're doing. So, that's all I got on that, I'm gonna move to the next thing. I'm gonna move to, it's gonna be the NBA, RICO, the gambling scam or whatever they got going on. Look, they brought up, they read like a mob movie. The Gambino, the Genovese, I ain't heard them names in years of news clippers or whatever. But they even talked about them. So they're saying that these NBA players, the coaches, or I know I see Chauncey Billups is the most. I do see. Like I'm not gonna act like I know a whole lot about this, but some type of gambling ring, right? To me, it sounds crazy because the people they saying that's involved, and you're not gonna believe, this and that, right? These guys are millionaires. Like, I mean, I don't understand what would you gain from this criminal enterprise, or are they being made to do it? But is the mob that strong? Because they keep saying it's dying, which I don't think that entity gonna ever die all the way completely out. As long as there's vices in this world, the mob got a place to earn and control things in an organized way, right? So the thing, I mean, you got all these voting apps and prize picks and underdog and all this stuff. So I mean, I would assume some type of new record that they got going on as far as how they scam and stuff. But I think they're saying something about the players or not scoring enough points to not beat the spread or whatever. Like they straight up. It just sounds crazy to me. But the only thing that I looked at with this, and I don't think nobody else looking at right, is didn't Gilbert Arenas just get locked up like a couple of months ago on some gambling thing? And now what? A couple of months after he get locked up on this big scam thing or whatever with some gambling, and he got arrested for it or whatever, indicted or whatever, and now they're hitting the whole NBA. You got the FBI director dude on TV, acting like he actually really doing something big. He got the FBI hold on and everything. Then you gotta go get some millionaires. Y'all gotta go pick up some millionaires. Like what do you think gonna happen? Like they all these guys up in there, like they really just gonna rush some type of gang or something. I mean, I guess if you're looking at the mobsters or whatever, maybe they probably got need to try to show force like that. But you walk into some mansions, they go pick up some people who haven't had to deal with things like this that I don't know when, so I don't know. It just seemed pretty funny and kind of fishy to me, but it seemed kind of weird that he get busted and now everybody is some big ringer, damn near like what's that, the Appellation. 62 chieftains. It's like 40 people that they arresting or whatever. It's still basketball scam ring. The RICO, NBA RICO. It's I don't know, man. We'll see. Let's stay tuned, y'all. We look more into that later. I don't know about the NBA, RICO thing as of now, but that was pretty entertaining. It's gonna be entertaining, but I think old Gilbert Snatcher. He doing something. Gilbert Arenas is a trip, man. He don't care. That dude, wow, man. He switched his fiance $1 million ring or something like that with a vape with. She thought she's finna get out of here. That dude funny. That dude funny, man. I like Gilbert Arenas, my man. But yeah, I think he told something. He said something. Okay, next thing I'm gonna slide into is the pastor. What's my man? It's the Winans. The Pastor Winans. Pass the money. And the way he talked to that, the way he talked to that lady, you know, and she like, because she got in the wrong line or whatever he said. She proud to say, you know, yeah, you donated my $1,000, you know, and I got another $250, $230 or something. He said, now listen, wait. So he said, it's like this. Listen, that's not what I asked you. I gave instructions on how you're supposed to come up here and give me that paper. But you just gonna want willy-nilly walk yourself on up here and try to give me $1,200 and something. I said, this is the 1,000 and then 1,000 and up more. Like, that's 1,200. I didn't ask you to do that. I said, run that paper. Now go over there in that line. Still need you to bring that paper, but going on over there. He shamed the sister though, right? For donating. And you asking these people, right? Supposed to be your flock, you know, your congregation, you know, members of your church. You ask them to donate so y'all can build onto your church, and then you shame somebody for what they donating. And not only that, like you on the microphone. No different than you having a megaphone up there, you know, yelling over there. What did I tell you? You know, like how you talk to this lady like that, and shame her for coming to give her hard-earned money. I just don't get it, man. And then he called this week. He like, yeah, and Tyler Perry just donated 100,000. Since last week when everybody had an outrage, these devils, he still called people devils because they called him out on how he talked about his congregation. How you gonna do this lady like that? Whatever she's giving or whatever they give her, they say, well, you should just say this, or you should just say give what you can. And they get that, but they putting a number on it, man, because people has been letting them do this forever, man. It's not looked at as a gift, or you being gracious and loyal to God to try to help, you know what I'm saying, build your place of worship up to a standard of y'all growing congregation. You know what I'm saying? You're not looking at it in that way, you know, or even the brother or that sister is paying tithes every week to the church. You know, 10% of whatever they make. Every coming up out of their checks, some people paying that y'all getting this money out of these people for worship. You selling God? And then you gonna shame them. So that's how shameful you are. Shameless you are. You have no pride because you outright beg people to go in their pocket to do something for, you say, the church, but it's really you. Because it's funny, you're like, you know, the pastor gotta have something too. Like, wait, why? Why, Pastor? And we all here worshiping, all this supposed to go to God, all this supposed to be the glory of God. Like, come on now. But he shamed this woman, man. And then bragged on Charlie Perry giving him 100,000. And Ty said, you can use my name. Yeah, use his name, because everything else sounds bad about him right now. Yeah, I know what Tyler going through. So yeah, any goodwill, anything they can draw attention away from what they got him out there to lose for, so use his name, because there's controversy behind. But then look how Tyler Perry came through and did this for the church, you know, this and that. We raised $600-something so far. Like, what y'all need, over $1 million or something? Now that was from what? This last week to now, that's a weekend, 4 days, 5 days, you raised $600,000. What's going on? Why you need to go talk to Mr. Wine? I'm just playing. You need to talk to him about how you do that, because they raising that paper. But yeah, I think it's shameful, man, what he did. That was kind of foul, you know. And I think the lady that heard her, I think they asked her how she felt about it. Like, she's so blinded in worship, you know, that she understands she's disrespected, you know. the person disrespecting you for you giving what you have. Your old money ain't enough. It ain't good enough because you ain't do it the way I told. That's not what I asked you. You're supposed to win in that line. You know, like, come on, to give me your money, for you can give me your money. Yeah, like, come on, yo. But it is what it is, man. So, from there, I'm gonna go for the church to. Girl, you look good with your back there. No, let me stop. But what's the Cash Money versus New Orleans? I know everybody seen that this past weekend. The return of versus Cash Money versus No Limit. So these guys went back and forth, man, and I just gotta say, I'm disappointed in Cash Money, man. You know, like, y'all just, I don't understand it, you know. No Limit did their thing, you know, for what they could do. Like, the only people that wasn't there was the people who couldn't physically be there because they're incarcerated, you know, or deceased. But they showed up. I mean, it was in unison. These guys had on camouflage outfits like they used to have on back in the day. When everybody was body and right, yeah. Let me but they came in and they gave a good show, man, you know. And versus, I don't know what was going on, but they cut the budget or something on it or something, or whatever the deal they had going on with Complex. But how you switch it from 20 songs down to 10 songs, and then I think they tried to cut down even more songs from there. So it's just, that was a mess. But the most shocking thing to me was Wayne not being there. And the reason why I said the most shocking thing to me, because I have to mention it, you know, everybody, he's been out there on the internet screaming to the top of his lungs about not caring about being there, but really caring about not being there. Turk, not being there, we're not surprised by him not being. It was already announced that he wasn't going to be, but I was surprised that Wayne wasn't. And that y'all actually done this without Wayne being there. And there's a stipulation out there that Wayne didn't come because he wanted everybody to be there. Everybody, including Turk. Which, if this is true, it's super dope. And my respect level then shot, you know, a couple of more levels up for Wayne, even more than what it already has been for him. Because the way he doing his career, his respect level for me is still high. But I'm gonna say it just went up a notch, because for him to do that for Turk, or just to even show them, like, come on, y'all. We getting blessed, you know what I'm saying, to have a resurgence of something that we did 20, 30 years ago. We celebrate this with brother, and everybody can get a bag, and y'all trying to figure out a way to cut people out of a bag. 30 years later, he's still doing the same thing, man. What is wrong? What is wrong? Like, did anybody see Birdman up there on stage? We NWA Bitch Gang. We don't care what you don't like in there. Man, what else? F you, nigga. Nigga, you 50, almost 60 years old. You out there talking about some, we don't care what them, how stupid you look. Young boy in his 20s, maybe close to 30. You 50 something, almost 60 years old, man, don't curse your grandfather. Dude, act your damn age. You got an age, man. This dude, Birdman, is a trick. You gonna get up there and do that. What's his name trying to get, see, man, first trying to keep him on the straight and narrow. He couldn't even control himself. You still get us, I don't think nobody else paid attention. to that either. It's a problem still with him and Pete. Birdman still have a problem. It's 30 years. No, look, people died, everything, right? And then moving on, like y'all getting the bag now. You been rich, y'all got out of the streets, dude. Why is you still trying to live this? You know how stupid you look being a 56, 57-year-old blood, man? How that look, man? I don't really even think they exist, bro. I mean, if there is a blood, there ain't blood like that. That OG stay sitting back. You barely see it. Yeah, we from back then. They probably congregate together at the parks or whatever for reunions or whatever. He might pop up. They reminisce on their time. But dude, at 56, 60 years old, you not. No. It's just not right, bro, for him to do that and do that to himself. He looks so stupid. And then you screen some stuff out to turn. And all you doing is pumping him even more. You know he finna jump out the window and say, turn and say, yeah, you can't F with me when you wanna F with me. You just I knew he was finna be super animated. He is so entertaining, man. But they just did themselves a disservice. I see Juvenile is trying. He's trying his hardest to keep it together and rep for them. And he was dropping some hits on them, you know. So he was going. It really was him fighting on them by himself. Like they dropped the big time songs, but dude, that wasn't really messing with no ish. The only song that gave them some problem was Juvenile. And let me give props to the sister man. She told her it's down, man. Like it was back in the day. Sister still flow. That sound good. Her music resonate right now at age well. A lot of songs that age, like you see people running around on the stage like this. He don't do them, but he a grandfather too. Those songs that age well with him. But when she going, even though she older too, you see how her flow was. And she went across and how she glided across the beat, man. Man, is legendary, bro. And people, you can't give her, they giving her props, but they should have been giving her props, man. As far as female rapper, come on, yo. Man's been that. And this just proved it. That's what I'm saying. Her music aged well. It's like fine wine, you know. It aged well, B. But so salute to sis. Salute to No Limit as well, you know, as a whole. Birdman, bro, get it together. There's so many different ways you need to get it together. Whatever BS y'all on with Turk, get off it because y'all blowing some bags. And they said the fans losing out, that y'all gonna lose pretty soon because people not finna be booking for y'all no more. Why? Because they want the whole nostalgia. They want that feeling. They want the 99 and 2000s back, right? Y'all not doing that. You're not providing that. Why should we keep booking you for something that we're not gonna get, right? You're not gonna get it. So I'm not gonna keep booking you for the 99 and the 2000, and you're not y'all not actually doing what you're supposed to be doing, right? So that's all I got on that, you know. But I just say, like, man, come on. He got to grow up and get it together, bro. So, the next topic I want to touch on, I know everybody been talking about this because they're going on for about a week, so I would say I'm probably late to the party. If you want to, you know, put it that way, I would say, yeah, okay, I'm late to the party as far as that. So, the Joe Budden podcast and the Native Land podcast has been clashing over some things that the Native Land podcast had to say about the Joe Budden podcast over the episode where Flip and Mark Lamont Hill was about to get it on. Mark like, come on outside, out there. But they about to get it in. So Native Land Podcast came out last week, I think. Yeah. And they dropped the podcast and named it The Dumbing Down of Black America. And pretty much had a clip with Kari Sellers and Joe Budden, the pod, JBP and thing, on there, and used the clips or whatever from the episode with Flip and Lamont Hill, and they went in about it, them having a problem with Flip being stupid and Mark shouldn't be arguing with him and this and that. So they said a lot of foul stuff. I don't want to go back into that because I think everybody knows that part. But Button came back with a response, bam, you know, about what he felt about how they felt about what they were saying about him and his show, you know, which he had, I think, all right to feel the way he felt, and his response was warranted. You know, like I can't say that Joe was wrong, right? I can't make him wrong on his response. So they had a problem with his response, and there was clips and things going back and forth. And the Tiffany lady on the Native Land, she's real, you know, spicy with what she's saying and how she's standing on what she feels. So they had a new episode that they dropped this past, like the end of last week. And they had Charlamagne on there. And to my surprise, right, to my chagrin, let me stop. I was trying to say little slick stuff, but whatever. To my surprise, though, Charlamagne's take was something that was shocking, I would say, and also refreshing, because it brought my respect level back up a notch or two for Charlamagne for this. He actually agreed with Joe Budden, even though, I have to say this, guy, if anybody watched it, y'all think that Joe Budden tried to throw Charlamagne in the mix with the Native Land Podcast about what they said. They sound like Charlamites or whatever. Nobody's speaking on that now. But this is exactly what Joe was saying, right? About Charlamagne and putting him in there and just assuming that he said it sounded like y'all used the sound bites that would come from him, right? And Joe thinking that Charlamagne had even put them up to it, right? To a certain extent from how him basing that. But what was dope to me was Charlamagne being who he has been known and grown on us to be. The reason why a lot of people even started, you know, becoming a fan of his is his truthfulness and him being willing to even say it. One person come to him and even call him out on what he said, right? He did that. He debated them, and they are part of his podcast network, you know, Black Effect. He said he didn't appreciate it. He didn't like to hear what was said. He didn't like, he said he talked to Angela Rye even before coming on the show, you know, in private, because he just wanted to talk to her about what he heard, and he didn't like it. He said he even said this, like, I'm surprised that I'm even here defending Joe Budden podcast, but I'm going to have to agree with Joe with what was said. Like, that's how we look at and think about each other. But yeah, Charlamagne, that is. And then what you speaking is just logic, and then you see the girl Tiff, she's trying to come back, she's spraying, hey, I stand on what I said, and I don't respect everybody's opinion, and I don't, and I don't this and that, and I don't. And Corey, what did Corey have to do? I don't know what she did. She's doing this little laugh about it because she's thinking that you were saying something good. And I think everybody even said, even with that, like how you said, but I don't respect nothing he's saying. He tried to tell me about this. He tried to tell me about, like, well, then why don't you inform him? Like Charlamagne said. You such an intellectual that, but you're willing to cut off the information. Intellectuals deliver the information factually, right, to the best of their ability. An intellectual can even talk down. They can speak in layman terms to make even the simple-minded of us understand it, right? Intellectually speaking, right? But intellectuality can be learned. That's a skill that can be practiced on, and repetitive behavior and constantly doing it and practicing and sharpening yourself on those skills, you can actually become an intellectual. So you're speaking on something that's attainable, right? As if it's not obtainable, as if you have some type of special power, because you're an intellectual speaker, an educated intellectual speaker, right? But that can be attained. I'm doing this show. I started the show. I know that I don't pronunciate a lot of my words fully, right? I might halfway say a word, but that's because of learned behavior of speaking that way for so long, right? But now me noticing that and me practicing and trying to get better on my speaking, because I have to do that a lot on the show, and I have to do that out in the world and be more relatable and understandable, right? So the way of communicating to everyone is a way that they can understand what I'm saying. So over time, as y'all watch me on this show, you see me progressively, week by week by week by week, I'm gonna get better and better. I'm gonna speak better and better. My segment's gonna get better. I'm gonna learn more about what I need to do to make this show better, right? My frames, my shots, my everything, the way that I project, the way my lighting, all of that will get better over time, right? But that comes with repetition, but that comes with practice, that comes with work, that comes with all of that. And that's the same thing that I can input to become an intellectual, right? Just put the work in, keep smashing stuff. So let's not, make it like, oh, we gotta differentiate between me being this smart person and you not. So if she couldn't even articulate her point because she had no point other than her trying to down talk her people, but didn't want to be called out on it, as my brother so eloquently put it. I would say Andrew Gillum and Bakari. I think Bakari said it like that. You took offense to it, to a way that the way that you even speak it and your posture and your form and the way that you even coming across to Charlamagne and them both going back and forth. And he's laughing. Charlamagne never showed any emotion within that conversation, but the way that she spoke, the way she rolled her neck, and the tones and everything, and the movements and the actions, you could tell it was anger, it was emotion, frustration there. You didn't have to show that. You could have stood on what you were saying, like you said, without having to show a frustration because somebody criticized your point or your opinion. Doesn't make it right, doesn't make it wrong. But the way that you respond to it makes it look a certain type of way. And it shows some arrogance. And to me, arrogance sometimes displays ignorance. So I think that all of them was even walking back things that they said, like Charlamagne told Angela, and Angela said that she extended an apology even to the Joe Budden podcast, which I would say wholeheartedly, I think that they should take that into consideration, that the sister even did take a look, because she didn't. She just went off of being mad about Mark, right, her friend. So she attacked them in that way. But after she said, look at these clips and watching what they're doing, she said she thought it was going to be some BS, but just listening to Flip and watching what he's doing and understanding and then probably doing a deep dive into what he's got going on, she looking at him in a different type of way, in another light, than what she looked at before, because it was a prejudgment, without you actually seeing or knowing or going in depth into what they do or who they are as people, not just what you hear about this podcast, because it's a type of competition type thing. But we got to be better as people for each other, you know. So it was a lot of things within that interview that struck me, you know, like when he said the Jack and Jill thing that bothered Angela Rye, to point out that none of them were a part of anything like that but Andrew Gillum, and then also had to point out to say that he was the only one who was the most relatable out of everybody doing that show, because that bothered her that he said that. And he showed no emotion towards that. He accepted what she said, took it in, digested it, and then came out of his mouth with a proper answer, with no emotion, no hate, no malice behind her calling him out on him saying that. That's how you respond. That's how you understand. That's how you conversate. That's how you gain understanding. Not with frustration, not with attitude, not with sass, you know? And that's what the woman gave off. I would just say that. I don't want to slam too hard on her because she's still learning and growing too as a person. And I think that she does have a lot of great points and things that she's saying, just even listening and watching their podcast before the conversation with Charlamagne even happened. Listening to the points that she was making on certain things, on topics that they were speaking on before that, like the government shutdown and things. Like, she had a lot of poignant views that I actually agreed with. So I'm not here to slam down on the sister. I did want to speak on this because I did see it, and it was ugly to me. And it made me even think about the things that I'm saying on here, right? On this show, because Winans is controlled just by me. So I'm responsible for everything that's being put out there, you know. And I need to be more mindful on the things that I'm putting out there, even though the show is called Ski's Opinion. So I'm going off of my opinion, but my opinion needs to be as close to factual as it could possibly be, without obscuring my views of how I look at things, right? But I want to be speaking mainly on factual things. I want to give my opinion on factual things, right? Hence the show, Ski's Opinion. My opinion about things that's actually, factually happening in the world from my lens, right? It's been another episode of Ski's Opinion. I'm going to ask you guys to like, follow, subscribe, hit that bell for notification to catch more episodes and clips throughout the week. And I am out.